Cumia and Landau back together again. You and I watched this.
Mm-hmm.
I have like 5 or 6 different timestamps here.
Yeah, I didn't timestamp it.
That we can go through. The first one is 23:30. So there we go. Dave Landau went on Michael Malice's show not too long ago, last week.
Yep.
And he talked about his experience with Steven Crowder. We have a clip of this on our channel where we give our breakdown of it. And obviously this is going to be a clip on the channel. But Anthony and Dave got back together. And the bulk of the conversation was about Steven Crowder, because I think the experience Anthony's having and we're having, and certainly the ROTC guys who called this years ago are having, is that we all had these feelings. We all had these just kind of, what's the word? Not predictions, but these kind of assertions and hunches about Crowder that Dave Landau it's always very satisfying to hear someone go, hey, I know you weren't in the room, but the shit you thought was happening, it's like you were in the room. You know, to know that you have those people reading skills, to go, Crowder seems like this kind of a guy. To have somebody come out in his inner circle and go, Crowder is 100% that kind of guy. And I think why you're not seeing more people be surprised is that Landau didn't come out with shit that made us go, oh, Crowder's worse than I thought he was.
Nope.
He came out with shit that made us go, oh my God, this guy is exactly how I pictured him to be.
And nothing that he came out with was like, oh, I'd never see that. That's so outlandish. It's like, no, we all kind of said, yeah, that's what's going on.
I kind of figured that was happening.
Yep.
Anthony and Dave will get to most of it here. But the way Crowder acts, the control, the amount of telling people what to do, the amount of micromanaging, even where they live, or what they do with their family, or what they do with their extracurricular time. I mean, you know what it is? Crowder is not a comedian. Crowder is not a naturally funny guy. You know what Crowder is? Crowder's a high school theater kid. And those theater kids need everything regimented. They need their spots X'd out on the stage. They need everything properly rehearsed. I mean, I think preparing a show is a very smart thing, and it's a very good thing.
So he's skinny James Corden.
Yes! He is a gayer James Corden. Brilliant, wow. Johnny. Yes, that's exactly what he is. So I would say with Crowder, he's a guy who's over-prepared,
okay,
if you will. Crowder is kills spontaneity, and that's why he's not as funny as he wants to be, and I think he knows deep down he's not as funny as he wants to be, thus why we're getting 15 sketches and all of them dog shit. So that's my take on it. Let's go to the Cumia Landau stuff, and I think you and I said the same thing. Seeing these two together again, boy, do they work well together.
I don't know Cumia well enough to say this, but I would say when the interview started, I just kind of felt like he just had a little yeah, I was right, smiled the whole time. He didn't do anything, rub it in his face or nothing, but at the same rate, he did kind of get, this is a shitty way to leave Cumia. Just kind of email thing.
April and I are working with Compound Media now. We've got another show coming, and then we got another one scheduled for Memorial Day. We got a lot of Compound stuff coming, and
nice.
we've been working with Compound Media, and I consider us at least peripherally part of the team. E-Rock runs that whole thing, and we've been talking to E-Rock mostly. But when we have talked to Anthony, always an incredibly gracious guy, always very, very nice, generous with his time. That's number one. He gave us 2 hours, 1 hour on the air, 1 hour off the air, and just fucking bullshitted with us.
Just hung out and had a good time.
Anthony Cumia is a guy who I don't think he realizes
how valuable he is.
How valuable he is, and how much people in this medium look up to him. I don't think he sees himself as a big influence. I don't think he sees himself as an inspiration. He just kind of talks to you like a normal guy. There's a lot of that old tin knocker still in him, where he's just a regular guy at the job. So he goes on with Landau here. And Landau is oddly, really gracious while shitting on Crowder. He does let you know that this is shit that bothered me. And there's never a sense of fuck Steven Crowder in it. It's always, here were my frustrations.
This is where it went, and it wasn't cool.
This is what I didn't like. And there's never, I've never seen someone pull off what Dave Landau's pulling off, which is sharing his frustrations about an experience he had, but not directly shitting on the guy, letting the rest of us do the shitting on him part.
And that's the smart thing. We will.
Right. The rest of us will absolutely shit on Crowder.
We don't even need a reason.
I'm trying to get my clip up before ROTC can get their clip up.
Sons of bitches.
Motherfucker. So anyway, here's Anthony talking to Landau. The first clip we have is about 3.5 minutes long. It's the introduction to the Crowder stuff.
Or whatever rib cage put in. You kind of reassess things, and sometimes it could leave you with a lot of anxiety and rage sometimes, and animosity. Did you see any change after that?
It's tough to say because, yes, obviously, it wasn't truthfully, and I said it in that I took the show. Honestly, I thought you were moving and I didn't know where to go. And I mean, and that's, so I took it to go there. So at first it was definitely a different way of running a show, which I understood, where yours is, you're very much, you understand comics, and you also understand like the idea of like, say what you want and do what you want, as long as you're doing the job. Like you're not,
I on a smaller level, I've been a host of a show for late 2000s, 16 years going on 17. And that's the way you have to be as a host. Like you guys, I never tell you guys what you can't say. And there's not a light, like a Crowder light that says, shut the fuck up, don't talk.
Right, it's not on right now.
Oh, shit, hold on. There we go.
There we are.
All right, perfect. But it's one of those things where like, okay, you direct the flow of the show. Wherever the second mic takes it, it's your job as the host to then, we always use the term keep the ball in the air. And it seems like Crowder just wanted to keep the ball to himself. And then when his second mics or his co-hosts wanted to try and touch the ball, he'd be like, don't touch it that way. And that kind of kills funny and spontaneity. And I think it's part of the reason why Crowder's so hateable, is he just feels like a guy who's too rigid.
I call it lazy, Dave. I call it lazy radio.
So you and I, we did it.
Yes.
Yeah, dude, I really missed watching movies, man. That was fun.
Oh,
too.
that was one of our hit segments.
What are you guys gonna blow each other now? What are we gonna fuck?
Hopefully.
I bet you people watching Compound, because I watch this later. I bet you the people watching live are just shouting at their screen, start shitting on Crowder. Quit talking about movies. Come on, I came here for blood.
Burn down Landau. He fucked you over.
That's the other thing. Anthony's very gracious. He understands the business.
He even says it a couple times. It's like, whatever happened. We talked about it. It's in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. And it's tough to say because there was definitely a lot of, there was a little bit before that. And then when he did have his surgery after, during recovery and everything, I think some stuff has obviously happened. And I know he's got a target on his back. He deals with a lot of anxiety. He does a lot of that stuff. And I think there is something there. I don't know what it is. Because I don't hate him. That's the thing, is I didn't want anybody to interpret this interview as like,
right, exactly. Dave, don't worry about the telling people you don't hate him part. The rest of us will take care of that.
We got you covered. You're on my tab.
And this bothered me when he said it too. Like Crowder's got all this anxiety and it changed him and things like, well, if you're going to be a comedic performer, you have to bury that shit. You have to bury it, or you have to be honest about it. Do you know how much more likable Crowder might be if he went on his show one day, like the rest of us, like the rest of talk show hosts do, and go, hey, man, here's what I'm dealing with right now. Here's what I'm having problems with. Here's my anxiety, blah, blah, blah. Every time he tries to do a segment like that, he's always lying. It's always about some other bullshit. I have fibromyalgia. Fuck off.
And it kind of comes through, so you don't believe anything he says. Like when he wears his gun and shit, I'm like, you look like you're just posing. When
everything you do seems posery and disingenuous, you can't have those really honest moments with your audience, especially when after every, I have anxiety, I have this, support me by doing the mug club.
Remember, we're going to change things. We're going to make a difference. Give me money. I'm not going to do anything.
Yeah, I'm
going to threaten lawsuits that don't go anywhere.
I say this all the time, and I hate to be prideful, but I like the way we do it. Do a show and then go, you guys want to give us some money, please? Like that. That's a lot better than promising them, like, we're going to fight back. Fight back against what? We're going to do a show. If you like it, could you throw us some money? That's it.
And for me, I don't even do that. I just go, will you give me some money?
Yeah, exactly.
anything else. Like I'm not a guy who's into drama. I just had to put it out there and say, like,
no,
this is
I get it.
What happened, you know?
And I know that. And you were just being honest about what you went through over there and how things ended. I never really got the impression that you were shitting on the guy.
No.
You didn't say anything personally.
No.
You know, I think it's kind of a control issue if you feel that you're losing control in certain aspects of your life, which maybe he did, his health.
Honestly, this is almost worse than shitting on Crowder because
now we're giving reasons for his behavior.
Not giving reasons. If I'm Crowder, this is almost worse than shitting on me. This is pity. This is two guys going, I don't know, maybe he's fucked up. Maybe his brain's all shitty. Maybe he just sucks ass now and he doesn't feel good, or, you know, maybe his health is in the shitter and he turned crazy. Like, if I were Crowder, I'd be like, no, just say I'm an asshole and a dick and I'm a control freak. Don't sit there and go, well, do you think he lost his mind because his life's falling apart?
He's at the top of his success. Do you think it's all going to shit? Yeah.
What do you think explains what a piece of shit he is? Do you think, like, it's almost pity because you guys are trying to figure out the math equation when we're all sitting here trying to tell you guys, no, he's just an asshole. Like, you guys are like, oh, maybe, like, Anthony's a nice guy. He's like, maybe he's stressed. Maybe he's anxious. And Dave's like, oh, he did have a lot of anxiety. And I'm like, guys, before there was the stress, before there was the anxiety, there were those of us who watched this guy probably a little too closely and went, no, he's just a sociopathic dickhead. Pretty sure. He's like Ty Cobb. He's, Tommy Lee Jones in the movie Cobb, where he goes, I was a prick then, and I was an even bigger prick after. Like, that's Crowder to me.
And then also, when you have that target on your back, and believe me, I know what that's like, you feel like everyone's out.
Name 15 times you had a target on your back, Anthony.
His name was Opie.
Yeah, exactly. That was the target on your back.
Get you.
No, that was the guy pulling back the bow on the target.
That was the guy holding the target.
Yeah. Every time Anthony tweeted the words black people, Opie went, should I fire? Should I get him now? Should I get him? The funniest part is when Anthony got fired and Opie's like, I fought behind the scenes. Yeah.
Right.
Whereas, Howard Stern bitched on the air and acted like a complete childish cunt when NBC fired Robin, and basically did the equivalent of throwing a tantrum on the air until they brought Robin back, kept running his news people off the air so they would bring Robin back. And then Opie's like, oh, when they fired him, I went, hey.
That ain't cool.
Are you sure? Like, yeah, Ope, we're sure. Well, did what I could.
You know what's really funny? We were talking earlier about how Anthony's very humble and doesn't really carry any of the gravitas that he's earned.
Yeah.
But it feels like Opie's more than willing to do that for him. Like, oh, but by the way, I was the greatest thing ever.
And that guy's a racist piece of shit.
I'm not going to talk about him. God.
Yeah. Swear to God, for the next 2 hours, I'm not going to talk about him. After that, no holds barred. Oh, come on.
So you don't have control of your own life, so you need to wield an iron fist over the things you can control, and then you become overbearing. And that's kind of what I got out of the Malice interview that you did.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say that that's not spot on. It became...
By the way, this is why I love what Dave Landau's doing. You know how I said he's not like shitting on the guy, but he's shitting on the guy? It's like, instead of him going, yeah, fuck that guy, he's a piece of shit, he's like, I can't say that all of that shit you just laid on him isn't untrue. That's the most diplomatic way of saying, or no, I can't say that's not spot on. That's the most diplomatic way of going, oh yeah, he's a motherfucker.
This guy's a piece of shit. Yeah. While I don't agree with you, you make points.
While I'm not the one saying he's a complete booger-eating piece of shit, I can't say that you're inaccurate.
It just became so much where it's like, I get it. It's your show. You want to do things your way, but it became to a point where we can't create things that I think were necessary to continue the show and to make it good. And I knew that by just what I was...
Think again, not shitting on him, but shitting on him, going, you can run things the way you want. I just wanted to do things that made it good and not suck.
He brought me on to do a comedy show, and I'm like, you can do it however you want, but I don't think this is funny.
Yeah. Dave, I would love to work with a Dave Landau because he seems like he would know how to bring shit up and like not piss you off. But if you're Crowder, anyone not letting him call the shots would piss him off. So the fact that Dave Landau got to Crowder shows you what a piece of shit Crowder is, because Dave Landau, even now when he's upset and this what he thought was a great opportunity turned to shit on him, he's still being very diplomatic. Like, I just had some ideas for him on how to make the show not a piece of shit, and I wasn't listened to, so
the stuff he did, I really didn't like it, so I decided I would go. Like, personally, I'm watching this, I'm like, I want to fuck with Dave to the point of like, how far do I got to push you till you get mad?
I was saying in fan response because that was my job. And
right, yes.
You can't just always say, yes, that's a great idea. Yes, that's why like the Biden Sharts video came out, because nobody was like, don't do that, please, God.
Thank you. We shit on that video so hard on this show. When he did the Biden Sharts
baby shark thing.
Oh,
yeah.
God, that was so bad. And he's like, the only reason that came out is because nobody was willing to tell him no.
And that's the part that I love. He's not saying that this shit sucked. He's saying that, look, we all knew it sucked, but we weren't allowed to challenge the throne.
I have that. I love that I have that on my show. You know who that is for me?
Who?
The entire fucking audience. When the entire audience goes, yeah, that's shit, don't do that again, I go, oh, fuck, that was shit, I better not do that again. That's why Corey always went, well, I'm the only one who doesn't say yes to you. I'm like, no, you're not. We got thousands of people every fucking day who don't say yes to me. I don't need any more.
And but I think there is an element to that, because he did feel like he was losing control of perhaps his health, things in his life. There's certain aspects to that, and a certain rage gets built up, and it's hard for him to trust people or anybody else. And
sure.
Okay, so I mean, was that maybe a slight tip of the cap to the divorce thing?
Maybe.
Perhaps the marriage
I don't know.
falling apart?
I don't know how much
I get
he
uncomfortable
knows
with the
about that.
divorce thing, yeah.
Like, because again, that's news breaking now. What we're hearing about how Crowder behaves, like nothing about his other and his kid. I could see if this is how you handle your business, if you handle your personal life the same way, you will run people off.
And if your personal life is falling to shit, you may treat others around you like garbage. Not everybody does.
Right.
Some people circle the wagons and they get really nice to the people around them when the rest of their life is going to shit, because they're like, oh my God, maybe it's me and I better fucking toe the line here. But other people, yeah, they might. I mean, it's not uncommon for human beings to lash out when shit isn't going well. So here's the next clip. We got about a 2-minute clip here. More Crowder from Dave Landau on Anthony's show.
He somehow figured out or decided that he owned it. Now, was there...
Talking about Dave Landau's comedy special now.
Yeah.
Steven Crowder said he owned Dave Landau's comedy special and wanted to put it out under the Crowder umbrella, and Landau's like, no.
That was mine.
It was very personal. I talked about a lot of shit in that special. I don't want it to be Mug Club presents Dave Landau. I want it to be my special. He wanted 70% of Dave Landau's revenue from the special because he let him keep the door.
Yeah. And isn't this the thing too, where he's like, he wasn't allowed to go do a lot of his performing unless Crowder was with, or
this is part? This is part of it.
Anything he said to you that you even went, okay, I could almost see that part of it, because from what I heard, I can't figure out one bit of how he would muscle himself into that situation.
No, he let me keep the gate that night.
So nice.
He let me keep the gate that night, which was very generous. Even though,
but it's not. You should
not
just
if he's taking the receipts after.
You should just let your guy have the gate, and then if he's taking the special, if what you film, he's then taking. I would have given him the gate if I could keep the special.
Yeah, if you're keeping the special, he's promoting it, and he takes the gate. That's a fair deal,
right?
But if you're getting the gate and because again, he'll own it for perpetuity. It goes on forever, whatever he has.
Best of Dave Landau. Oh, part of the special. There you go.
He did do a lot of the promotion, and I'll be totally honest, that's why 2 shows sold out, not just 1. I mean, the fact that he was going to come back certainly helped draw tickets.
Right.
But when it came to like my actual material, where I wanted it released and where I wanted it put out, it was always important that it was mine. I never would give up my stand-up, even with the Blaze, everything. I specifically had an entertainment lawyer carve out, do not, none of that's yours. This does not belong to you.
From what I've heard, the Blaze is always really cool about you doing side work. Alex Stein told us that when he was on the show. He goes, yeah, the Blaze is letting me doing my Man on the Street stuff. It's all mine. It's on my YouTube channel. I get to put it out there. Because the Blaze understands that the bigger he gets on YouTube, the more people come over to the Blaze. Right. It's good for everything. But Crowder had that control issue where he didn't want anything to be outside of the Crowder umbrella. God damn it, man. It's amazing he's been so successful in spite of himself.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's almost like he's been doing it against his will.
Yeah, which makes me wonder how he's going to do on his own, because he always had Mark Levin or Glenn Beck or somebody else holding the strings.
Well, it looked like it was going to be okay at first, but now with this, the fucking personal life falling apart stuff, I mean, he's not done or anything, but
right, he'll be fine, but
might be on the downward trajectory.
Peaked. He's definitely peaked.
Separate identity.
Definitely.
It's not yours. So it bothered me a lot because it was sort of kind of an you owe me this sort of a thing.
Yeah.
And I think that he felt that because he had helped promote it and I had gotten a good paycheck that night, that he was kind of entitled to it. And the deal was, we'll give you something off the back. And I'm like, yeah, I just don't want to do that, though. Yeah. So it became another point of tension.
Right. See, this is what Crowder doesn't understand. People remember shit. See, when you run shit, sometimes you have to keep score a little bit because you're so busy running something that you just go from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing. And you don't realize that other people remember the things. You know, you've got cases where, when I talked to Corey, when Corey was leaving, he's like, well, I resent this and that. And I'm like, I don't even, honest to God, I'm just trying to do a show. And he's like, yeah, well, I feel like I can't do this or I can't do that. And I'm like, oh, that's just not the kind of show I want to do. And he's like, well, I've been holding on to that for a long time. And that's, I kind of learned, I'm like, oh, shit, you got to kind of check in on people to make sure. You don't want to kill me, do you?
No.
Okay, good. See, I'm already growing. But if you're Crowder and you just expect people to fall in line all the time and you don't check in to see if these people are all right.
You think you don't do any wrong.
Right, yeah, and then when these people, then you act like you're a victim every time they walk away from you. It's because, well, you didn't pay attention to Dave. This created resentment. This made him feel like shit. But Crowder never showed that he cared, that he was creating resentment. And then he did the dope talk light, and he did, the 5 minutes late thing. It just, he doesn't seem like a guy who appreciated what Dave Landau did for him.
And even before Dave, there was like the theories about all this stuff being the thing, because what was it, Not Gay Jared or whatever? The guy.
Not Gay Jared, yeah.
Yeah, he left, and it's like, we can't hear what happened there. It's just, nope, no NDAs.
NDA. And Dave Landau never signed an NDA, so he's
smartest thing he did.
Right.
And I understand, like, look, I assure you, if I put it up on his site before mine, it would probably sell better, do better, and get better numbers at that time. There's no doubt about it.
That's for sure. Yep.
He's got a huge following.
Yeah.
But the reality is it's still, I wanted it to be mine because it's mine.
Yeah.
And that was just the principle I was standing behind. I think that goes for any comedian.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you have.
So that Crowder wanted 70% of whatever was generated from that special. And that's the, oh, you know what? We skipped over the shut the fuck up Dave light. Hold on. Let's see if we can, here we go. Let's play this part real quick.
Let you say it's yours. Just
you're giving your soul over. Uh-oh, Dave.
There it is.
Dave, the don't talk light is on, Dave. It's my turn to talk. You're not allowed to talk now.
Fucking asshole.
Here's what I'll do. Hold on.
Oh, no.
Oh, the looking around.
Hey, you hear this Tucker Carlson thing? It's crazy. Let me go off on it. No, Dave, no, don't. You want to chime in, Dave? Okay, go ahead, say something.
I heard
No. Wait a minute. I want to talk about...
Could you imagine? And then Dave going, oh, yeah, no, here, I'll just make this face. Like, again, if you're Crowder, you got to practice some self-awareness and see that shit builds in people.
And it does not help your show.
No. And not only that, I mean, you're treating someone like they're a kindergartner. You're treating someone like a child. Like they're like, hey, raise your hand before you say something. No, not now, David.
Someone you have worked and put effort into to bring them over here. I mean, why did you do all of that?
Yeah. We've got 3 more clips. Maybe we run late with this. I don't know, but we got 3 more clips to get through. Let's skip the middle one because it's really long. Mm-hmm. And we'll just do this one and the final clip. Wow, what a great spot to pause Anthony at. Oh, my God.
Photoshop was not invented for this, but it will work.
No, I'm sorry. If this costs us any more Steel Toe episodes at Compound, I apologize. Everybody, to see this whole interview, go to compoundmedia.com. Get a membership today for Compound Media. You'll enjoy it. Gino's show was great. They talked about us yesterday. Anthony's show, Chrissy's show, the 21 Guns guys are awesome. E-Rock's got a show there. We've got shows there. Shitload of content, totally uncensored. Compoundmedia.com. All right, couple more clips with Landau, and then we'll get out of here. Well, thank you guys for Super Chats and PayPals and all that. Then we'll get the fuck out of here.
Well, I understand it, by the way.
I know you're.
I think I get what it was, but I just want to know what your take on it was and how it was used.
Oh, it was used fairly often until I brought up how much I was insulted by it. And
they're talking about the light now, the don't talk light. It was used a lot until I brought up how insulted I was by it.
It was used less and less.
Who ran the switch? Did he run the actual?
Okay, what do you think? Who do you think ran the switch?
Absolutely him. You don't have that kind of a control problem. All right, I want you to shut him up every time I want to talk, but I'm going to give you the power.
Switch that turned the light on? Did he have the don't talk Dave switch?
I like the shut the fuck up Dave switch.
I'm thinking about, I don't even have a co-host, and I'm going to just shut the fuck up like.
Sound effects and the phones and the don't talk Dave switch.
There was the board operating switch.
Yeah.
Not the board operator. They're right here. Let's say he has a Montgomery Burns desk.
Yes.
There's a couple buttons.
Trap doors into acid and things like that. Sure.
Yes.
Honestly, I'm going to say this. He honestly doesn't seem like a guy with an axe to grind or bitter. He just has matter-of-fact things that annoyed the shit out of him, so he had to leave.
And they just happened to make Crowder look like a douche.
And they just happened to make Crowder look like a controlling theater kid asshole.
Right, and things that are helpful to comedy, like. So there's the stop comedy button.
Comedy, like a don't say anything funny.
Here's what I don't get about Crowder. How do you not understand that people are going to resent the shit out of you for that? Telling another grown man to shut the fuck up while you talk in light form is really, really mean. It's really shitty and degrading to do to somebody.
Plus, aren't you supposed to be a funny show? You know what really helps comedy? Kill spontaneity.
Yeah, I think he even says that in this interview somewhere. He goes, we should really kill spontaneity. That's good for comedy.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, so there was that button. And he would just hit it if he thought something was going too far or he wanted to rant. So eventually he said it was his rant light, which I sat next to you. I sat next to Artie. I mean,
those people never rant.
Right, that's just it. Like, he's a co-host. He's a professional. He knows when to shut the fuck up when the host is going off on something.
Mm-hmm.
Janiqua K, ladies and gentlemen. But he knows when to shut the fuck up. And also, sometimes letting your co-host talk in the middle of your rant can be helpful. It can assist. Like if you say something like, get that off your chest, you okay? Thank you. Or like that. Can you throw me an ain't nobody got time for that?
Ain't nobody got time for that.
See, how does that not make my rant better?
Radio, I know when he's going to rant.
That was always, it was never a problem where, this guy's going to step on my shit, or, how do I get a comment in there? There's a way to communicate when you're just talking to a person where the person knows that either you have something to say or you know that the person has something to say.
I hope Crowder watches these, and we have one more clip left, but I hope Crowder watches these because this is broadcasting 101 that this motherfucker doesn't know, because let's be honest, for Crowder, I think what we're learning here, what we've already known kind of, is that it's not about putting on a quality show for his fans. It's about get a load of me.
Yep. It's an ego trip.
That's what all the sketches are about. That's what the don't talk, shut the fuck up Dave Landau light is about. That's what Sticking It to Daily Wire was about. It's not about fighting Big Con or fighting Big Tech or doing any of this shit. It's get a load of me, Crowder the theater kid. And the only thing we're missing from the theater kid trifecta, we've got selfishness, we've got showmanship. Now all we need is coming out of the closet, and I feel like we might be getting close to that.
Really glad you didn't say talent. All right, but the other thing is too,
we know theater kids. They don't have to have talent.
His whole shtick started with that. The whole what is it? Prove me wrong or whatever. The meme thing. Yeah. That whole thing was, get a load of me. I'm out here as a punching bag, and I'm going to feed it right back to you. Like, he's always been there.
Him and Ben Shapiro always kind of creeped me out with that. Watch how smart I am. I'm going to own a bunch of 19-year-olds with blue hair. Wow, you're a genius, this guy.
Once it came into my family,
of course,
and that's why. But I held it in for a long time. I still feel I am now, and
you know what, Dave? That's really healthy.
Just keep it inside, repress.
I'm holding in a shitload of resentment that I had. Yeah, he says in this interview, I think the part we skipped, Crowder was going to make his family move to Austin, make Dave's family move to Austin, and Dave's like, well, how much money am I getting? Like, oh, the same amount. He's like, yeah, my wife has a job and insurance, and I've got a kid back in Detroit, and like,
that's uprooting our lives.
Yeah, like you need to pay me a little more, a lot more, in order to uproot my life. To come over here and live in Austin or Dallas or whatever the fuck it is.
Just want to move on and do something that's separate. I mean, that's the thing about him is he's enormous. He'll weather the storm.
Right,
There's no doubt about it. He'll always be big. He has this massive fan base. People believe him. People trust him. He's selling a product people like. But the reality
is that was kind of a dig.
He's selling a product that people like.
I believe it.
Yeah,
behind closed doors.
It's called Mug Club.
Yeah.
For just my treatment, I couldn't stay there anymore.
Yeah,
and that was the total opposite of any other reason I would have left a show.
Right.
And so that I realized that 2 years ago. Sorry.
Whoops. That is the perfect spot to end that on. Is him going, I resented Crowder. He's a stupid fuck. I can't stand him. He's the worst. And then him
looking back on it. Oops.
Oopsie daisy. My bad, buddy. So that was Dave Landau reuniting with Cumia. And again, I know Dave's got his show on the Blaze and everything else, but if those two got back together again, I think they could really help each other out.
They certainly didn't seem to miss a step.
Yeah.